had the privilege to speak with a mom who had a son with special needs who is 35 years old. And I asked her, what would you go back and tell your younger self if you could go back to when your son was first born? And she told me two really life-giving things I want to share with you. If you are new around here, my name is Heather Sweetman. I am a mama of 4. My youngest has quadriplegic spastic cerebral palsy, and I am here on YouTube to make the content that I was searching for when I was starting out on my special needs journey. So my videos are unedited. I make them while my daughter is at therapy, driving around in my car, and doing all the errands that we moms have to do. So this sweet mama, oh my goodness, I wanted to cry as soon as I met her, and that was the question I wanted to know. I wanted to know, what would you go back and tell me if I were you and your son was 5, because Finley was 5 when I spoke to her. What would you tell me if you could go back 25 years? And she did not hesitate one bit. The first thing she said is, she said, Heather, I would tell myself to have so much grace for myself, to extend grace to myself, that you cannot fix this, that you cannot fix this disability, that this is something that is going to be with you. And it takes, that saying, it takes a village to raise a child. It is even more true with a child with a disability. And so she said, I would go back and say, have grace for yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. You're doing great. And so that immediately brought on the tears, because I think any mom, especially parents, we just struggle. Are we doing enough? What can we do better? How can we help more? I forgot to do that thing. I forgot to do those 20 things. All of the things that you just beat yourself up for. And I think when you have a child that has a disability, so much of their quote-unquote success is tied to the things that you do or don't do for them. So even though logically you can be like, oh yeah, I can see how you would get there, it is just not realistic to think that our actions as parents therefore equals their quality of life. Now, obviously there's a lot of nuance in that, but I'm coming at this from the perspective of giving ourselves grace. So the other thing she said, which had me in tears, was, your other kids are gonna be great. And it still makes me cry 6 years later. She was a mom of 4, is a mom of 4. Her oldest was the one with a disability. Her and her husband had 4 kids. Her husband left her sometime after the 4th, and she was left to raise the 4 kids on her own, one being severely disabled. And she did not know me. I had not shared anything with her, but she touched on something that my heart was just so worried about, and that was our other 3 kids. Finley's the youngest of 4. We have 3 other amazing kids, and if you have a person in your family with special needs, you know and understand how much they require, especially if they have severe emotional challenges, behavioral challenges, sensory challenges. If they can, in our case, cannot walk on their own, need assistance really doing everything, from toileting to eating to playing to everything. She needs assistance, and that requires so much. And then you have these other 3 amazing people that you want to give to and love on, and just constantly worrying, am I doing enough? How are they? I mean, all of us grow up to be adults who probably need counseling, right? A friend of mine has a friend who said this, and I love this. I've adopted it, that you never meet an adult who's not broken, right? We all need Jesus. We are all broken, no matter if we had, I mean, we're all dysfunctional, right? So whether we came from a mildly dysfunctional home or a severely dysfunctional home, we are all broken, and we all need Jesus. And so, but she just said they will be the most compassionate people. And that's what being around someone all the time who really needs help, that's what that does. Is it not obviously 100% of the time, but it cultivates compassion in the family around you. And I've seen that in our kids. Our kids are 17, 16, 13, and then Finley's about to be 11. And I see them being aware of things that I was not aware of people I was not aware of when I was their age. I see her cousins doing the same thing, just being aware of the pain that people are in. And I think this is something that 6 years later, it's still a worry for me. Like, one of my kiddos said to me, I asked them how they slept, and they said, not great. And they made a comment like, oh, I normally don't sleep good. And I thought, well, that's weird. They've never mentioned that before. And so I later went back to them and just said, hey, you always tell me you sleep good. Like, what? Tell me more about this. Like, you said you never sleep good. And they said, well, I just don't want to worry you. Like, you have so much to think about. And so just that fear of like, I'm your mom. It's my job to worry about you. Like, not in that kind of way, but because obviously we need to give our kids to God, but it's as the mom, I want to be able to figure out why you're not sleeping well, and if there's anything that I can do to help. And so I think there is definitely a fear I recognize of, there's things maybe they're holding back or whatever that maybe they wouldn't if we didn't have a person with special needs in our family, and we wouldn't trade it. I mean, there's no way we'd ever trade her for the world. And they adore her. So, but those were the two things: grace for yourself, and know that your other kids they won't just be okay. They're going to be great. And she did go on to share with me the work that her other kids were doing and how they were all involved in the medical field or the therapy, physical therapy. I think one had gone into being a physical therapist. One was becoming a nurse, and one was going into social work. And she goes, I don't think they would have chosen these occupations had it not been for the gift of my son. And I think just seeing her, I'm not exactly sure what age lady she was. I would have guessed like early to mid 50s. And just seeing like an older version of myself, like, she's okay and her kids are okay. And God knows what he's doing. And it doesn't always make sense to us. It doesn't always feel good to us, but he knows what he's doing. And actually this morning I was reading something and it was talking about suffering in life, and I gotta get going, you guys. I'm sitting here crying like a baby. The verse was talking about when Jesus, before he went on the cross, and he was asking God, like, if there's another way, please, let's do the other way. And then, but his the line is, not my will, but your will be done. And it's like, and then of course Jesus went to the cross, and it was the Father's will, and there's so much beauty in life. Well, all beauty in life came from that moment in history and made a way for us to have a relationship with God, and that came out of the worst form of suffering, and the worst. And so I just want you to know that God sees you, and he knows you, and he sees your pain. He sees your child's pain. He knows everything that keeps you up at night, that wakes you up in the middle of the night, that plagues your thoughts. He knows it all. He understands your suffering, and he's with you in it. So don't take my word for it. Take the advice of a mom with I can't remember if he's 30 or 35, in his 30s, a son with special needs in their 30s, who raised 4 babies, one of them being severely disabled. Oh my gosh. Somebody did a U-turn in the middle of an intersection and almost caused an accident. Okay, time to get off, and yeah. Anyway, oh wait, what was I telling you about that? Sorry, that accident made my brain have a fart. But yeah, take it from a lady who's done it. And so if you have found this encouraging today, I would love it if you would subscribe. I would love it if you would say hello in the comments. I'm trying to hit 100 subscribers. I would love to do that by the end of February if possible. And just appreciate everybody that is here. Appreciate everyone who, just all the encouragement. Just really appreciate you guys. So anyway, I will see everyone very soon. Bye.